was saying before I ran out of time in that last video is that anytime I can multiply by a half, I'm going to want to go ahead and I'm going to want to round to that half because it is just divided by 2. And I can very easily take a number and divide it by 2. So my next example that I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at 33 and 500ths, and I'm going to multiply that by 200. Okay, so again, I'm going to want to go ahead and just round, make it as easy as I can. So 33, I am going to go ahead and round that to 33. And I'm going to leave 200 alone. And when I multiply 33 times 200, well, 2 times 33, if I just double 33, that gives me 66. And then I need to add on my 2 zeros. So I have 6,600 is what I have for that estimate. Next one that I'm going to take a look at is going to be 79 hundredths multiplied by 51. So this one's going to be a little bit different. This is not a half because it's a whole number. 51 is a whole number. So I'm not going to do anything fancy there. I'm just going to round it to the nearest 10. So that's going to round to 50. And because I can't get this to a place value, this isn't going to be a very good value to get to a place value. I'm going to go ahead and round 79 hundredths. I'm going to round that one to 1. Because I don't know what 80 hundredths multiplied by 50 would be, and that would be if I rounded to the nearest tenth. So I'm just going to go ahead and round this one to 1, and I get an answer of 50. Okay, let's do a few more examples. So at this point, if you feel like you are ready, you may go ahead and stop the video and working on your practice, and then the independent practice, the front side, and then doing your math problems on the back side as well. If you would like to do a couple more examples, I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple more examples. So the first example that I'm going to go through is I'm going to do 19 and 3/10 multiplied by 6. 6 is going to be a value I'm not going to change. I'm going to leave 6 alone because I can find the multiples of 6 pretty easily. And then 19 and 3/10, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this one and I'm not going to round to the nearest whole number because I don't know what 19 times 6 is, but I do know what 20 times 6 is because I know what 6 times 2 is. So 2 times 6 is going to be 12, and then I add that 0 on at the end. So 20 times 6 is equal to 120. Okay, next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do 345 multiplied by 5 and 79 hundredths. So 5 and 79 hundredths, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to use a compatible number there. Let me round. So I'm going to go ahead and round this to 6. So I'm going to round to the nearest whole number, which would be 6. And then I'm going to multiply or change 345. I'm going to change that to 300. So I'm going to round down to the nearest hundredth. And when I do that, I get 1,800. Okay. Take a look at my next example that I'm going to do is I have 9 and 66 hundredths, and I'm going to multiply that by 46 hundredths. So there's a couple different ways that I could estimate this problem. The first way that I could estimate this problem is I could go ahead and take this value and round it up to the nearest whole number, which is going to be 10. Gets me to a place value. When I have a value that's a place value, I can use those patterns of 10 and I can multiply. And so here when I multiply, I'd move my decimal over 1. So my answer becomes 4 and 6/10. The other thing that I can do is I can go ahead and take it and round it to 10. And then I could round the 46 hundredths to 5/10. Now remember, we talked about this. This is going to be your 1/2. So I'm really looking at what is 10 divided by 2 here, which is going to be 5. So either one of these, they're both compatible numbers. Either one of these would work in terms of your answer. The 4 and 6/10 might be a little bit more exact because I only rounded the one value where here I had to round both of the values. So at this point in time, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and start working on your independent practice. Please remember to show the equation that you used or the steps that you used to rounding. I want to see the two values that you rounded to and then your final answer. So you're going to go ahead and work on your independent practice and then both answering the questions on your math practices and problem solving questions on the back of your 4-2.